Maybe I should have that tripod. Okay. So let's think about storage. Today, there's this old black kind of archetype homeless dude. Came to my little alley, and he was like, I was afraid they're gonna go through my backpack and take the backpack because it's really cool, or take something out of the backpack, which would be like, oh hey, this is a nice water bottle, but like they have no idea how important that water bottle is to me. Or maybe they cut it in half, whatever. I don't know. The value system is kind of weird, so I was afraid they're gonna take something like that. And I'm like, oh man, like you can take from like my big old pile, but don't take from my tiny pile because I really need a tiny pile. Don't take the shopping cart. Yada yada. You can take this. You can take that. Don't take this. Don't take that. And then they grabbed what they needed and went on their way. All is well. You know. But then they left open a bag of cornflakes, and they didn't even eat the cornflakes. They just opened the bag of cornflakes, and then I said, please take the cornflakes because you opened them, and I'm not gonna eat them because you just opened them. I don't know where your hand's been. I mean, I know which dumpsters I've been, but I don't know which dumpsters you've been in. And they literally just took a big shit. They took a big liquidy shit. They took like a diarrhea type shit because they've been drinking sweet milk or whatever. And then I'm like, well, this is kind of crappy. Like, you know, they threw my water bottles everywhere. They threw my potatoes everywhere. This is not fun. I made this resource for people polite for it, but it's like they really polite for it. And then not even an hour later, like this Venezuelan couple comes in, and then they do the same thing. They grab all my canned food. They grab my big sack of potatoes. They leave barely anything for me. But they do leave some food though, which maybe was intentional. But they barely leave anything. And that got me thinking, like, why am I in this alley in the first place? Not this alley, the alley across the street. Why am I in there? Like, why am I spending my time in there? Like, am I spending my time to grow plants? Kind of. Am I spending my time there so I could take a shit? Well, kind of. Am I spending my time there so I could store stuff? Well, kind of. Am I spending my time there because I can make a cool camp? Kind of. But really the main thing that I went to the alley for was storage. But then I kind of realized, like, storage isn't really a place I have. It's more like something I do. Like, I realized, like, with the storage system I have set up in the phone, the one I'm recording with right now, it's a lot less important that I have a good spot to store things, and just more important that there's like nested structures, and there's just like a picture to go along with stuff, and that it's like secure. And I realized, like, the way that I've been doing it, it's not secure. Like, people are just going in and just grabbing whatever they want. And so I realized, like, there's I had like 4 choices. I threw out 4 choices in the past. I'm remaking the video. I had 4 choices in the past. Now I'm gonna cut to when I was in the alley, and I was thinking about specifically what I was doing in that alley right now. Take all my canned food. They take all my canned food. They take every single bit of canned food I had. With all the protein I was gonna eat. It's now theirs. And so these guys just came in and took all my food and left. And I'm asking myself, what am I doing in this alley? Why am I trying to make the plants grow taller? Why am I taking a shit here in this specific alley and not somewhere else? And the answer all kind of boils down to storage, which is like, can I store stuff? And when I put it here, is it going to be back tomorrow? Is it going to be still there? Is it still going to be there? And I'm getting an overwhelming no. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure if I should change my storage site to be harder to get to. Like, if I should just move to the roof ridge of the same alley. If I should find an entirely different storage area. Or if I should just not even change very much at all, just push the things deeper into the alley. Because I had like a set of pretty expensive items that were deep into this alley and nobody really touched them. They didn't know they're there. And I don't know which one to do. And I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. And I don't know which one to do. I'll do my analysis right now. The good thing if I do it on the train tracks is I don't have to cross the street. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. Because one of my big fears coming into this alley every other day is I'm going to get ran over going to the alley. Because it's like the feng shui of it's all fucked up. And that's like a really big reason to switch storage spot. If I do it on the train tracks, no cars. No risk of getting ran over. That's the big pro. The big con is that it's uncertain, or that it's managed by the railroad company. And then, choice 2, I'd say this like right in front of me, is again I'm just thinking about storage. Like, how do I store this stuff in a way that it's gonna stay? Choice 2 would be store it in the roof ridge here. There's like a ridge of a roof, like it's on the ceiling. You have to climb up to it, and nobody would know it's there. But every single time I climb up there, just like crossing the street, I incur a little bit of risk, and there's a little bit of risk of me falling over and getting seriously hurt. And so I don't think I want to do that. But that's a choice. Give me the items would be definitely pretty safe up there. Choice 3 is just putting it farther back into the alley, where they just don't see it. And then maybe choice 4 is because one of my friends, they just impromptu donated me a bunch of food, and I had the idea, I could just store this extra stuff under the car. Choice 4 is just storing it underneath the car. And I think that actually might be one of the best choices there. It's just storing everything underneath the car. Because it's less visible, but it's still pretty close by and within my control. And you're not going to just run underneath someone's car. So, okay, so I realized I could put the stuff under the car and that would have animals underneath it. But then, at the end of the day, I decided to put the stuff at the railroad track. But the main reason being, I don't want to have to cross the street in order to get to my storage area, because that's super dangerous. And there's also 3 other things. 3 other reasons. So I came to the alley so I could take a shit. I came to the alley so I could potentially grow weed there. Ooh. And then I came to the alley, I think, because I just like growing stuff and building camps and just building stuff. But I realized I can't grow weed there because it's really illegal. And if I'm going back there every single day to take a shit, they're gonna catch on pretty fast. Also, it has frequented by people a lot. It's not good for storage because people pull for everything I have all the time. And so the idea of me developing the area and just pissing a bunch of nitrates in the soil and shitting in a giant pile of compost, it doesn't make sense anymore. I realized that storage isn't really something that I have in certain locations. Storage is something that I do. I made this big software system in my cell phone, the one that's being recorded on right now, to figure out exactly what to store and how to store it and stuff. And I realized so long as I have a spot to put something and it's safe, that system will work anywhere. And so this idea of, I need to grow these plants big, or I need to have a shelf to store my stuff, none of that's necessary. So long as I have some indexing system and some way of keeping track of what's being stored, it'll work anywhere. It'll work on a car, it'll work on a light pole, it'll work in a tube, it'll work anywhere. And so it doesn't matter that what I was doing in the alley, which is like making a shelf, making a camp, making it waterproof, like none of that matters because of how I'm doing stuff. I don't need to have my stuff in like a line, like so it's like a displayed well. I can just have it in a big old bunch and just put that inside of a big garbage bag, and that'll work. That'll make it a waterproof, fairly strong storage solution. I realize it's just not a good storage area, and it never was. Like, people were taking stuff from the alley on day one, or like week one, and I guess it wasn't that, like, they weren't taking that much, but then when the bulldozer hit, they started just coming in droves. And I guess me trying to put those plants up was like a bit of momentum against that, but now I realize it's just a bad idea. I should have pivoted 2 weeks ago to finding a different storage area and really just understand, like, this idea that storage isn't something the idea that my storage system is abstracted to the point where it's like I can do it anywhere and I can just lift it up and move it and it won't make a difference. But I was kind of being stubborn, so it's probably bad. I think I was being a little bit ideologically stubborn too. And so yeah, that was my breakdown, like the reasons I'm there. Now I'm just gonna use that spot to take a shit. And it's kind of funny because I spent the entire day today picking up every single piece of trash that was intertwined in the weeds. I spent the whole day just irrigating the fuck out of those wild plants, the local fauna, flora. I mean, you know, the local flora. I spent the shit out of just digging holes in the ground and putting plants in the ground, trying to make them grow big and tall and green. And now I realize all that was a waste of time. So I'm gonna go. I'm probably going to use it as an auxiliary space because I'm also in a bit of a weird ethical position too. You see, I'm going to these food banks, and at these food banks, I get food for free. You know, I get food for free, and some of these food banks, they give you a lot of food. They give you a bunch of food, and so I'm thinking, oh well, I want to have a secure future, so I'm going to grab all the food I can get. I'm going to grab all the food I can get. And I kind of think about it, I'm like, well, I'm using this gift of generosity so I can accumulate a bunch of food for myself. And then when somebody comes along and tries to take it, I'm not going to let them take it because I'm going to hide it away somewhere where they can never see it. Does that sound right? And I kind of was like, fuck, that sounds kind of fucked up. So what I'm going to do is this. This is my solution to that ethical dilemma. Is an application of my shell system. Because the Venezuelan couple took almost all my food and left me in a state of food insecurity. I'm going to go back to the food bank on Wednesday. So I'm good in that regard. But they put me in a position of like food, not insecurity, but uncertainty, which I don't like being in. So I'm going to go back to the food bank on Wednesday. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that alley over there as an auxiliary storage space, where I'm going to put stuff like firewood. Like when I have enough food, I'm going to put my food there. But if I have only a little bit of food like I do now, it's either going underneath the car, where people aren't going to touch it, or it's going way hidden somewhere, where people aren't going to see it. And that's how I'm going to do it. But if I have like too much, I'm going to put it in the alley, and I'm going to let people take whatever the fuck they want, because I shouldn't be greedy about stuff. It's fucked up. But I also have to look out for myself. That's really important. So I'm going to have like, I really have to look out for myself. Like the fact that they like left me with almost nothing was pretty uncool. That's pretty uncool. Like, that's kind of screwed up in my book, but that's all right. I mean, I guess I was just in denial about it being a bad storage area, and I'm putting all that work into trying to make a bad storage area turn into a good one, and it's just not working out. But I'm gonna go down how all this happened. I'm gonna be walking around pacing while I'm doing it, because I was walking around pacing and I said I should record this, so now I'm gonna record it right now. This thing on? Okay, so the first time I found that alley was when I was using Google Maps, and I was trying to find a place to cook. So I wanted to have a place to cook where there could have a big smoke signal, and no one would see me. And I was still living by Lake Street at this time. Such a loud fucking train. Okay, so I wanted a spot to cook stuff where I wouldn't have a smoke signature that was damn near invisible, or I could have like a lot of smoke and nobody would notice. And so I just went on Google Maps and started looking around where I could cook stuff without people noticing. And I found that alley. It was very abandoned. It was great, wonderful. But then I think what happened was I said to myself, this is a great place to cook stuff. I should store my firewood here. Oh, well, I'm storing my firewood here. I should store other stuff here, too. Oh, I'm storing other stuff here. I should also do this here, too. What happened is everything kind of centered around this alleys. Like, I slowly started building on top of it, of what I had. I said, okay, you know what? I should shit here, too. And I should store here, too. And I should make the grass grow tall. And I'm going to put a fucking weed plantation here, too. Which is not going to happen anymore. But, oh, and I'm gonna fucking maybe make a little workstation there. You know, a little fucking table so I can do stuff. It's like I slowly started putting more and more effort into the place. And that's why I realized, like, I fucked up. Like, that's where I fucked up, because when I went in the map to do the exploration on the map, the only reason I chose that specific spot was because of a smoke signature. Which is, if there's a bunch of smoke coming from that alley, no one's gonna give a shit because it's next to like a warehouse that's down for the day because they're all asleep at home, and a fucking railroad. That's the only reason I chose it. Was because between a warehouse that's closed and a railroad, no one's gonna give a shit if there's a giant column of smoke because I can't figure out how to do fire. And well, I don't need a place to do stealth cooking anymore because my fire stove is efficient to the point where it doesn't need to be hidden. I don't need to like watch the smoke signature because it rarely ever smokes up like that anymore. It burns really efficiently. But like that's how it started, and I just kept adding more to it. So I guess if I'm going to look for a good area, I guess what I should look out for then is and even in the beginning, people were taking shit here and there. It wasn't like egregious like it is now, but people were taking shit. And I guess what I need to look out for is this kind of centralization of convenience. Like there's this guy, like this Alan guy. He was around my car too the other day, and he brought his chair and he brought a trash can, and he was getting very comfortable with me until I said something that made him very upset. Justifiably, it made him very upset. I was being sleep deprived and a shithead. But what I did notice before that, even before I was offended him greatly, he started bringing a bunch of stuff here to kind of make it more like a base for himself. Like he said, oh, he's gonna get me a big old ice pack, and he's gonna put cold food in my car. And I'm like, I didn't ask for that. And he actually gave me that giant jug of water, making it into like a home base almost. And I think that's what happened with the alley back there. And I think that's what's happening to anything really is when you get comfortable going to a certain space, you want to see that space developed into a certain level. Like, oh, I'd cook my fire here. Well, I should put other stuff here too, and I should put other stuff here too, and I should put other stuff here, and it kind of just grows and grows and grows. And if it's in the wrong spot, it's just clearly unsustainable. Like an alley that's in the middle of the fucking sidewalk where everybody can walk in. That's not sustainable. To be fair, it's pretty sustainable when My strategy was to create a wall of green so people wouldn't walk in. That would have worked. That would have worked. If I had a wall of green, that would have worked. It's fucking strange. It's so loud. Okay, anyway, so if I had a wall of green, I probably would be afforded a bit of privacy. Like, I have, like, GoPro parts in there, and nobody took the GoPro parts because it has a wall of green around it. Like, you can hide stuff in that alley. It's just... it's too future tense. It's too far... It's only useful far in the future when all the piss... when all the nitrates from my piss seep deep into the soil. It's too far in the future. It's not now. I guess. Pretty annoying. I guess my issue really wasn't the choosing of the alley itself. I look like fucking got a halo around me now. It wasn't really the choosing of the alley itself. My issue was more of that I decided it was my denial after the bulldozer event. I move it so I got more of halo. And that denial was really not good. And I probably should have done something immediately after that bulldozer. I probably should have immediately moved the storage space. I mean, luckily, but also by design, I didn't lose anything terribly important. Because I don't store anything terribly important there. I think somebody did take the hose, actually. There's no hose there. I didn't lose anything terribly important. But, I did just slowly lose a bunch of stuff, and I did put a lot of effort and time into the alley. I guess I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of time and sweat. During the tornado warning, and there was like 25 mile an hour winds. I was in that alley planting fucking roadside weeds. I was in that alley planting shit during a tornado warning. So I put a lot of effort into it, and just knowing that it's actually not going to pan out to anything good is kind of upsetting. But at the same time, it's like, well, that's life. And also, I'm reminded of my fundamental. I'm reminded of my fundamentals. It's like these systems I'm building. They exist in the head. They exist in the computer. They don't exist in the physical space. And I'm getting reminded of how versatile they are and how powerful they are, and how much it's like I want to like take this nebulous power and attribute it to a physical artifact. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. And that's really hard not to do. It's hard not to try to embody something, because you want to be able to touch something. You want to be able to measure something or feel it. And it's like just having an empowerment that you can't feel or touch is honestly kind of really weird, but it's something I have to get used to. Having these modes of power be more of an abstract thing. Hi. Alright, that's my video for now. The rest of the video is just going to be eating bread with a can of chicken cream. I'm just gonna make you guys watch. I make you guys watch me awkwardly eat this bread. I know you guys are internet weirdos, so you're probably gonna watch it all the way.